And we are rolling on this wrestling edition on St. Patty's Day. I've got my lovely shamrock hat on here. So, who else thinks it's really strange that it's snowing on St. Patrick's Day? Definitely me, because I don't know. Anywho, so we're going to get into all the stuff that's going on. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for tuning into the show. I love doing these videos. I have a lot of fun doing them, and I just appreciate the love. So let's start with AAA new tag team champions, the Young Bucks. I think the reason why they won those belts was because they're going to be defending them at Double or Nothing and against the Lucha Bros. I think that's the reason why that's happening. So Impact Wrestling officially, the Dark War, the match that saw Kira Hogan, Jordan Grace, and Rosemary, the returning Rosemary, to Impact Wrestling. Glad that they finally have her back in the ring. Defeated Allie, the Undead's bridemaid, and Su Yung with James Mitchell, actually, which we have not seen him since. He used to be Abyss's manager. Anywho, Rosemary picks up the win. So Allie is officially basically free from Su Yung, so she's no longer associated with Su Yung and her faction. Decent match. I was really impressed, honestly. The other match that Impact had recently that I was pretty impressed with was Eli Drake and Eddie Edwards versus the Desi Hit Squad. I thought that match was really good. And the Scarlet Vortex theme that they're going with, I really dig it now. I think it's going over with the fans. Yeah, I don't know. And the whole Johnny Impact versus Brian Cage thing, I think, will be pretty good too. Impact Wrestling is doing a lot of good right now. And I like that they're pushing Rich Swann too. They should. He's a really good talent for them. And it's just good for business. Other wrestling news: Ric Flair had surgery this past week. And let's be honest, guys. The Nate is getting much older. I think his in-ring, career is basically over with. I do think that he will probably be a general manager or something like that if they want to do that. It's really up to WWE, though. I do think that he's probably not going to be in the match between Batista and Triple H. I don't think that's going to happen. I know some people wanted him to be a guest referee. I just don't see it happening. He just had surgery. I think that is not going to be involved with WrestleMania in any form of way. SmackDown and Raw, I thought this week were pretty solid shows. They really pushed the boundaries for WrestleMania. It sounds like for Kofi Kingston to get his rematch, or his shot, I'm sorry, at the WWE Championship, he's going to have to be in a gauntlet match again, where he's going to have to defeat like 5 or 6 other wrestlers on Tuesday to even get the title shot, because of the storyline that's happening with Vince McMahon. We also know that it's official: Randy Orton versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Can't wait for that match. I think that's going to be one of the better matches. We still don't have an opponent for Asuka, which I'm not understanding if Sonya Deville is getting that opportunity, Naomi, Carmella. I mean, we don't really know right now. It does sound like Samoa Joe does have an opponent, and it, for all I know, I'm thinking it's going to end up being, Rey Mysterio or R-Truth. It could be a triple threat for all we know. We don't really know. We're not really sure what they're doing with Andrade either. SmackDown has become kind of the show where they just go with the flow and they book matches um, off the fly, honestly. Um, but I do think that they're trying to get better with promoting the matches. I just think it's a matter of time what's going to eventually be. Uh, they're trying to get back to the 14 rated system, I guess, going into the fall. Like a little bit more, I don't know, not non PG, I guess. Um, but I don't know. It's WWE, so who knows? Um, Alicia Fox is officially suspended for her actions, I guess, for being intoxicated at WrestleMania. So I don't think we're going to be seeing her anytime soon. Um, they're trying to negotiate the Usos contracts, which will be up at the end of April. Um, Gallows and Anderson are officially going to be leaving the company. They'll be free agents. AJ Styles is actually, his contract will be up at the end of April as well. So they're trying to figure out Usos and AJ here, whether they're going to be re-signing them, letting them go. I hope they re-sign them, honestly, because SmackDown needs the Usos and Styles. Uh, but, who knows at this point? And then we have the John Cena possibly coming back to wrestle Kurt Angle. That's been all over the internet right now. Nothing has been confirmed yet. They don't have an opponent for Kurt at WrestleMania, but that will be his very last match in his wrestling career. He will be retiring officially after that. It does sound like we are going to have a Raw Tag Team Championship match at WrestleMania. I believe it's going to be Aleister Black and Ricochet versus the Revival. I would have rather seen like a triple threat tag match, maybe a ladder match or something, but that's what we're going with, I guess. SmackDown, there's a possibility that the Hardys might get that opportunity to face the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, which I'm actually okay with that if that happens. So we'll move on to Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, this past week's show, I was actually kind of happy with it. I thought it went pretty well, honestly. I like the matches that are being booked, like the triple threat World Heavyweight Championship match. I think should be pretty good for the next pay-per-view at Madison Square Garden. Bully Ray opens his mouth basically and goes out to the ring, issuing an open challenge to anybody in the wrestling world for a New York street fight. We don't know who his opponent is going to be. Some people are saying it's CM Punk. I want to say right now, I would be really surprised if that even happens. Yeah. We're not going to even get down that subject. I would be more... I don't know. I would go the route of maybe an older ECW guy who comes out to fight him, maybe like a Rob Van Dam, a Sabu, maybe a returning Tommy Dreamer, or maybe a Taz, maybe a Jimmy Havoc, somebody that would be a little bit more reasonable as an opponent. Who do you think is going to be the mystery opponent for Bully Ray, I guess? That's what I want to say. Speaking of Jimmy Havoc, he officially signed his deal with AEW. AEW basically has stated in numerous interviews that they want 30 competitors for the male and female rosters. So they're signing up a lot of talent right now, trying to figure that out. It does sound like they're in negotiations with Lucha Underground to try to build this relationship with them to swap talent. I actually think that is a great idea. Then we can have like some of their talent go to AEW and compete. I think that's how you have to do it in this wrestling industry right now. Let me think here. Oh yeah, NXT. Yeah, it sounds like because of Tommaso Ciampa's injury, we're gonna be getting a fatal four-way match. Um, so yeah, it sounds like whoever wins basically is gonna be the NXT champion, I guess. Um, the NXT Women's Championship. It sounds like it's gonna be Bianca Belair, um, Io Shirai, and Kairi Sane. Is that who it is? Yes, Kairi Sane will be involved in that match against Shayna Baszler. Um, meh, I don't know. I would have rather gone in a different direction, honestly, but that's, you know, I just don't understand. There's so many women in that division that are just so talented, and they're not giving them the opportunities that they should. Like Dakota Kai. I mean, for example, Rachel Ellering, she's returning to WWE. She's going to be competing for them. Chelsea Green would have been a great choice, but she got her arm broken, I think. No, I'm sorry, wrist. Her wrist was broken in her debut match, actually, which I need to talk about that a little bit too. So, former Knockouts champion Lacey Van Ness, now Chelsea Green, made her debut on NXT. I'm actually okay with that because she was great in Impact. I mean, great matches with like Gail Kim and Sienna and I mean all their talents. Rosemary, she had lots of great rivalries in the company, and her match against Allie also was pretty good. Um, but again, Impact lost a lot of their women, honestly, to other promotions. Um, but again, Chelsea Green, when she gets healthy, when the wrist heals, that's a great person that NXT can build their division around. Like if you call up Shayna Baszler to the main roster, like SmackDown or something, like I'm perfectly fine with pushing somebody like that when they're healthy. She was a great talent, and I think that when she gets healthy, she's going to prove it. Um, but anyways, um, so it does sound like TBS will be airing AEW. They're just trying to figure out all the contracts in the time and date when they're going to start airing it. So that does sound like that is going to happen in the fall. Um, Jim Ross will be officially leaving WWE when his contract is up. So I would not be surprised if we don't get, Mike Today and Jim Ross as commentary voices for AEW. I am okay with that absolutely because back in the day when Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler were doing Raw, great, awesome announce team. And then Mike Today, when he and Don West were doing TNA, I'm sorry, NWA TNA back in the day, sorry. That was a great combination. And then when Taz went to Impact, then things got even better. But speaking of WWE Hall of Fame, Honky Tonk Man, DX, Heart Foundation, Tori Wilson, and the new inductees, Harlem Heat, ladies and gentlemen, the classic WCW tag team that were competing against tag teams like the Steiners, the NWA, or NWO faction. Boy, those guys are just so freaking talented. It's not even funny. I liked that tag team back in the day when WCW was around. Speaking of that, are there any WCW fans out there? What other tag teams do you remember in WCW who wrestled against Harlem Heat? What matches do you remember that were amazing? The ones that I can think of were when they wrestled Perry Saturn and Raven. I remember that one. That was a good match. When they fought the Steiners. When they fought the Outsiders. um, Benoit, and I want to say, was it Perry Saturn? No, Dean Malenko. Dean Malenko. Eddie Guerrero, I know for a fact that he and Chavo wrestled Harlem Heat one time. Um, and then you have to consider Sting and Lex Luger also. Hogan, and I believe, was it Rodman? I want to say yes, Rodman fought Harlem Heat one time as well. Um, Diamond Dallas Page and Bam Bam Bigelow, I know, wrestled them too. WCW just had so many great talent. I mean, I could this whole entire show. I could just go on and on how much I love WCW, but anyways, um, I think that there's a lot of stuff going on right now, with contract negotiations with different wrestlers that want to leave other companies, like Kushida. Kushida has said basically, I want to go to WWE. Sorry, blah. Anyways, so he has basically announced he wants to go to WWE, but there's some issues right now to where he's just waiting out his contract. So it sounds like he will be going to NXT, but there's nothing official right now. So, anyways, I just wanted to do this video. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And this is a brand new episode of the Wrestling Show. I just wanted to put it out there. Lots of great stuff going on in the wrestling world. WrestleMania, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very soon. We'll get a lot of great matches, and I can't wait. I think it's going to be a great WrestleMania.